So as you can see, there's so many kinds of lights really, and glad I don't have too many. So down there you definitely need a hand light, like a smaller light, like these guys or the Tovatex are really cool. Something really compact that you can carry around, have on your arm really.
What are you using that light for?
Hole hunting. That's what the game is down there. So what you do with the strap really, most people put it down here, but it's kind of incorrect. You want to have the strap up high so the light is completely out of the way. So when you turn, you can move it around. And you want to have the light on the opposite hand of your gun really. Otherwise, good luck.
And also, anytime that you're going to be hole hunting or having something loose and dangling attached to you, we always recommend to have one of these safety straps to replace the strap that's on there. You'll notice this little part right here. Let's say the light gets stuck in the hole just with some, pretty easy pull. You can get yourself out of that situation, your arm comes out, and you can get back to safety. So definitely, anytime you have something dangling off you, make sure that it's attached to one of these guys.
And one typical mistake I've seen with a lot of new guys, they put a light right on their gun. That's really the wrong approach. You wanna first check in the hole without the light. Let your eyes get accustomed to the darkness so you can see if you can locate the species, the fish. If you can do that, you have the upper hand really. The fish cannot see you because the light is behind you. So you can really line up a shot. If you turn your light on instantly, we're talking about blinding the fish, so the fish will run and hide from the light. So first, get in the hole, put your head there, get accustomed to the light. If you can see, great. Try and locate the fish. If you cannot see, then you turn your light on.
Perfect. How about here, we're looking at these knives and reels that you got here. How about, let's start with the knives. I mean, are they gonna need a long knife for these fish, shorter knife? What are you thinking?
Definitely depends on the species. So I will definitely have two knives down there, belt knife and a leg knife. Belt knife, you have to kind of put it a bit on the side, so when you bend to go down, it doesn't poke you. On the leg knife, just because we're used to California diving, we have always the knife on the inside so it doesn't get hooked on lines or on the kelp over here. Over there is no kelp, there is some sargasso in some areas. So again, it's always good to have the knife on the inside. Some people put it on their arm, but remember, if you have sargasso or kelp, it can't get caught. So just be careful with that. So I'll definitely have a small knife, like a really small guy. Something easy. This knife can bring really any fish, any size fish, including big fish. Many guys like having the bigger knives, like the 6-inch knife blade. So I do like carrying this. I have this knife personally. Real easy to cut through things, and if it's on your leg, you don't feel the length really.
Yeah, I recently picked up the Rife knife. Where do you have that guy?
Right there.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I just have it in black. I really like that knife.
You have the old style.
Yeah, sharp knife.
Definitely you want to have a decent small equipment bag on the boat over there, especially having 4 or 5 guys on the boat. It's gonna be a mess.
There'll be
4
4
guys
divers per boat. Yeah.
plus the captain.
Yep.
And a deckhand, that's 6.
Yep.
Don't go down there thinking with a sport tube, thinking you're gonna put your sport tube on the boat or just throw your stuff on the boat. No, you need to be organized down there. So you have to, each person has to have their bag with their essentials in, a backup as I said before, a pair of fins, a mask, snorkel backup definitely, and just be organized. Organization is key down there. You don't waste time, you don't lose stuff, you don't have accidents. So definitely have a bag, 100%.
Yeah, when you're talking about backups, that brings up a really good point. I mean, I think that especially in the remote places of Baja, like we're going, 2 is 1, 1 is none. There are no dive shops down there. There is no way to repair your gear. Bring a backup. I mean, you should just have an extra dive knife, bare minimum, because somebody's going to break some gear and you don't want that to be you and have it ruin the rest of your trip and you're sunbathing for a few days.
And a lot of spears. You're taking 2 guns, you better have at least 6 spears.
6. Yeah, I bring 3 per gun.
Yeah, I would say 3 per gun. I've seen it so many times. First day out, lose 2 spears.
Yep. And it's either, when he says lose, these fish, when you shoot the grouper, especially whether it's a gulf or a cabria, the very first thing they're going to do is run to the rocks. They're going to try to hold themselves up in the rocks, and if you can't turn their head before they get to the rocks, you've now got a battle on your hand, and they're going to pull that shaft down as deep into the rocks as they can. They're going to bend it, they're going to break your mono, everything's going to be wedged down in there. So I keep a minimum of 3 shafts. I usually bring 2 or 3 guns. I bring 2 on the boat, and a minimum of 3 shafts for each. Some of them I have 4 shafts, because you're probably going to lose at least one of the rocks. You're almost guaranteed going to bend one at least. So you just make sure that you pick up extra shafts so you can keep diving.
Yeah, definitely. And crimping kit and mono, that's a plus. I assume at least one guy on the boat should have a crimping kit.
Yeah.
At
I
least.
keep one. I have a pouch on my dive bag that I bring on. I have a pouch out front that holds like a Rife plastic kit with all my crimpers, crimps, extra tuna clips, things like that. So
Yeah, definitely a lot of rigging stuff. Definitely have a backup belt, at least one per boat, at least.
Belt will
I've
break.
seen belts break, belt breaks, that's it, done.
yeah, it's ill-advised to try to stuff your wetsuit with rocks. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, so definitely at least one guy per boat should have a backup belt. I always take an extra belt in my bag, really. You have the weights. If you break your belt, you're gonna still have your weights unless it drops at 200 feet. Definitely have to have extra rubber for your guns. It's not only the shafts that bend, but you also break the bands. Some people get fresh bands thinking it's all good, but you just don't know what's gonna happen. You might need a band, another guy might need a band, and before you know it, if you know how to tie bands, get plain rubber. So definitely have a good pair of gloves. You know how it is down there, and be careful when you grab a grouper. Their gills are brutal.
Spikes on them.
Once you
Sharp.
put your hand in, doesn't come out. So do not grab them from the gills. Really, you have to grab them from the gill plate, or one nice trick that we do in Europe, you actually grab them from the eyes. The moment you put your hands in their eyes, especially when the fish fight too, they actually mobilize themselves.
Yeah.
The moment you grab their eyes, they stop.
Yeah, on the underside, if you're looking head on at the fish, the front side of their actual gills, the curve of their gills are where they have their little breathing fingers on. The back side of it have these crazy like sharp spikes. So like Petro said, if you try to grab underneath those gills, like the physical gills themselves, you're gonna get hooked up on those gills. If you just grab the plate itself, you're not gonna get messed up at all. You can control them by the plate. Don't reach underneath the gills. Make sure you have, some
A good set of gloves, something the Dynama glove will be good. Even, it's summer, so symbol glove, Dynama glove will be fine.
And keep in mind, you're going to be doing a lot of rock hunting. So you're going to be crawling over rocks. There's a lot of espeto diving, which for those of you who don't know, dive down to the bottom, lay on the bottom, nice and still, relaxed, maybe clank some rocks together to make some noise, maybe strum your bands a little bit, but you're going to be on the rocks. So the gloves and booties, wetsuit is going to protect you from getting beat up on those.
Since you brought that up, make sure you have extra weights. Over here, we're used to be kind of neutral at 20 feet. Down there, you need to be neutral at a smaller depth, so
you're
you
not
need to be a
diving so
bit
deep.
heavier. Yeah.
Yeah, so the safe method that is taught in FII is to set your buoyancy at 33 feet. But a lot of you are going to be maximum diving in that 30, 40 foot range. You're going to be really buoyant. So the way that you do there is you're going to set yourself neutral at about half the depth that you're planning to be diving at. So if you're going 30, 40 feet, you're going to be setting yourself neutral at 20-ish feet, which means you need more weight.
And if you don't have one or two of these, definitely get this is the easiest way to adjust yourself from a smaller depth to a bigger depth on the boat, on the go. Take it off, put it back on. Go to a shallow spot, put it on. Go to a deeper spot, take it off. Simple as that.
All right, so now you've been on the water all day. You've got some nice fish. At Cangrejos, the captain, your boat captain, Pedro, their whole crew is actually going to do the majority of the filleting for you. It's part of the service that they offer. If you'd like, you could bring fillet knife of your own. I really, really like the Banshee blade that Petro sells here. Super sharp, nice. He sells a stiff one and a flexible one. I use the stiff one. I fillet 90% of my fish with it. It's great. You're also going to want to bring some sort of vacuum sealer with you, with your own vacuum sealer bags. Pedro does not have any of that down in Mexico, but he will have places for you to plug in and vacuum seal your fish. Bring a lot of paper towels because you're going to want to dry all of your fish. You don't want to ever want to vacuum seal a wet fish. You want to pat that nice and dry, stick it in the bag and vacuum seal it. He's going to have one freezer, like a stand-up front door freezer for each boat that's going to be going. So we have 6 boats. He's going to have 6 full-size freezers there. So at the end of the day, he's going to fillet. You're going to vacuum seal your own fish and we're going to throw it in the freezer. And by morning, that stuff is going to be hard as a rock. Now, getting the fish home, you're going to want to have a nice cooler to pack all that stuff in to get home. I usually bring a Yeti 110 and then also my brother has an Arctic 130 and we'll bring those down. We'll pack those full. There is a Tecate in town where they sell ice. So in case you don't fill it all the way full with fish, as much of the air in the cooler as possible with ice. Pack it tight, close it, and unless a federale or someone asks you to open it, you will not open it until you get home. And it should be able to last the 10 or 11 hour drive to get home, depending upon the border.
Well, if you found this helpful, please hit that like and subscribe button and let me know in the comments what accessories you like to carry around with you when you spearfish. And that does it, folks. This is all the gear you need to know to get started in spearfishing. This playlist is pretty comprehensive. please use it and forward it to your friends who might be interested in getting into spearfishing so that you have more dive buddies and we have more people in this sport so that we keep it alive. And until next time, stay safe out there and I will see you in the water. See ya.